Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakatari Asatara Satahi Savan Grace Shil Ace Bhaktivedanta Swami Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai and Adhikota Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Namachara Shila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Shishi Radha Govardhana Ki Jai Shishi Krishna Balaram Ki Jai Lord Giriraj Lord Nrsimhadev Ki Jai Shishi Gauranitai Ki Jai Nitya Gaura Premanandi Hare Hare Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna everyone, and welcome to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class. So, we have been studying Canto 3, Chapter 13, entitled The Appearance of Lord Varahadev, and today we are up to text number 44. You can see that there? Okay. Where are we here? 44. 44. Okay, please repeat. Vidun vata vedamayam nijam vapur Janastapasacha nivasino vayam. Satasidho duta sivam bindubir. Vimridja mana brishamisha pavita. Vidunvata vedamayam nijam vapur. Janastapasatya nivasino vayam. Satashikoduta. Sorry, his glasses are a little bit on the old side. Satashikoduta shivambo bindubir. Vimridja mana brishamisha pavita. Oh, somebody like to lead? Vidanvata vedamayam nijan vapur. Janasta pasacca nivashino vayam. Satasikoduta sivamba bindubir. Vimrijam yama brishamisha pavita. Vedunvata vedamayam nijam vapur. Janastapasacca nivasino vayam. Satasikoduta shivambo bindubir. Vimrijam manabishamisha pavita. Any of our ladies? Vidunvata vedamayam nijam vapur. Janastapasacca nivasino vayam. Satasikoduta sivambo bindubir. Vimrijam man brishamisha pavita. Viduna vita vedam nijam vitur. Janastapasacca nivasino vayam. Satasikoduta shivamba bindubir. Vimridya manabrishamishya pavita. Okay. Thank you, everyone. That was very good. Right, here we go. Synonyms. Okay. Vidunvata, while shaking. Vedamayam, personified Vedas. Nijam, own. Vapu, body. Jana, the Janaloka planetary system. Tapa, the Tapaloka planetary system. Satcha, the Satyaloka planetary system. Nivasina, the inhabitants. Vayam, we. Sata, hairs on the shoulder. Sika udata, sustained by the tip of the hair. Shiva, auspicious. Ambu, water. Bindubi, by the particles. Vimrijamana. We are thus sprinkled by. Brisham, highly. Isha, O Supreme Lord. Pavita, purified. Translation. O Supreme Lord, undoubtedly we are inhabitants of the most pious planets, the Jana, Tapas and Satyalokas, but still we have been purified by the drops of water sprinkled from your shoulder hairs by the shaking of your body. Translation, please repeat. O Supreme Lord, undoubtedly we are inhabitants of the most pious planets, the Jana, Tapas and Satyalokas, but still we have been purified by the drops of water sprinkled from your shoulder hairs by the shaking of your body. Okay, and here we come to the purport. Purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ordinarily, the body of a hog is considered impure, but one should not consider that the hog incarnation assumed by the Lord is also impure. That form of the Lord is the personified Vedas and is transcendental. The inhabitants of the Jana, Tapas and Satyalokas are the most pious persons in the material world, but because those planets are situated in the material world, there are so many material impurities there also. Therefore, when the drops of water from the tips of the Lord's shoulder hairs were sprinkled upon the bodies of the inhabitants of the higher planets, they felt purified. The Ganges water is pure because of its emanating from the toe of the Lord, and there is no difference between the water emanating from the toe and that from the tips of the hair on the shoulder of Lord Boar. They are both absolute and transcendental. Jai. Excuse me. Om Gyati Miranda Shaganandana Shalakya Chakshur Unmalitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Right, so Lord Boar, Lord Varahadev, one of my favorite incarnations. So, like this. So before I start discussing the inhabitants of the upper material planets, I want to just make reference to that sentence in Srila Prabhupada's purport, namely that this Boar incarnation is the personified Vedas. Right? So, right, approximately 1 month ago, right, those of you who were attending class at that time, you would have heard the purport from verse 26 of this same chapter. It's approximately 1 month ago. So I'm just going to read a couple of sentences out of that purport. Right? Srila Prabhupada says, "The Lord has no material form, but his form is always understood in terms of the Vedas. The Vedas are said to be the breath of the Lord, and that breath was inhaled by Brahma, the original student of the Vedas. The breathing from the nostril of Brahma caused the appearance of Lord Boar, and therefore the Boar incarnation of the Lord is the personified Vedas." I think that's very interesting. So I want to discuss a little bit about this matter of Vishnu Tattva and Jiva Tattva personalities. So the word Tattva, when we say Tattva, it literally means truth. You know, it's how we conceptualize a particular subject matter that we're talking about from the Shastras. So Vishnu Tattva personalities, such as Lord Varahadev, they are all direct personal expansions of Krishna, right? And they all have the same potency as Krishna. All Vishnu Tattva personalities are above the material energy, and in fact they are in control of the material energy at all times. Also, Vishnu Tattva personalities are what we call all-pervading. That means that they are potent. Their potency spreads everywhere. Right? Jiva Tattva personalities, on the other hand, such as ourselves, are just ordinary living beings, and we definitely can be influenced by the material energy. We are prone to be influenced by the material energy if we are exposed to the material energy. And therefore, sometimes we need to take a material body, just like we are experiencing this material life in this material atmosphere. So, due to this proneness to be influenced by the material energy, we do become illusioned, whereas the Vishnu Tattva personalities are never under any sort of illusion. So I just wanted to clarify this. The distinction between Vishnu Tattva personalities and Jiva Tattva personalities is very, very vast. We are not at all on the same level, shall we say. Now, in this particular unique pastime, right, of the appearance of Lord Varahadev, we have a Jiva Tattva personality, right, namely Lord Brahma. Right? Lord Brahma is a Jiva Tattva, still he's within the material universe. He is the top personality within the material universe, but he is still Jiva Tattva. So in our pastime today, right, we have a Jiva Tattva personality causing the appearance of a Vishnu Tattva personality, right, namely Lord Varahadev. So we could ask, well, how could this happen? It sort of sounds a little odd, we could say. So firstly, we need to understand that the Transcendental Lord remains the supreme cause of all causes at all times, right? Even though we may discuss, that such and such a personality caused this to happen in this particular way, we should understand that ultimately Krishna is the supreme cause. Secondly, we need to understand that Krishna is not restricted by any material rules or any laws like all other living beings are. Right? Krishna can choose to appear exactly when he wants to, how he wants to, where he wants to, either within the spiritual planets or the material planets. And when he does so, he interacts with his devotees in very wonderful ways. When he chooses, especially when he chooses to come here within this material atmosphere, usually we see some very wonderful pastime with his devotees, right? And we can see this in other pastimes, like for example, at the end of last Dwarpa Yuga, right? We had the demigods headed by Lord Brahma. They went to the shore of the milk ocean and they offered these special prayers called the Purusha Shukta mantras. Right? These are special prayers that are recommended to be recited if one is appealing to the Lord for something special. So the demigods, they're all Jiva Tattva personalities. But nevertheless, they went and they appealed to the Lord, and Krishna reciprocated, and he told them, yes, okay, I understand that there are chaotic things happening on the earth planet at the moment, so I will appear within the Yadu dynasty. So that was, Krishna reciprocating to the prayers of the demigods. And then, of course, when Krishna did appear, he appeared first within the womb of Devaki. Right? So Devaki, yes, she is a pure devotee, but she is also a Jiva Tattva personality. She's a very special Jiva Tattva personality. But so in this way, actually, the Srimad Bhagavatam is full of wonderful pastimes in which we read about how Krishna interacts with his pure devotees when he comes here. And Lord Brahma, Srila Prabhupada describes Lord Brahma as being a pure devotee of the Lord. Also interesting, a little bit later in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada comments that because Krishna appeared as Lord Varahadev from the nostril, right, from the breathing of Brahma, just like I was reading, right, we can see in the little picture up there. Because Lord Varahadev came from the breathing of Brahma, Lord Brahma is described as the father of Lord Varahadev. So this is very sweet in one way. It's kind of a special reciprocation, between Krishna and one of his pure devotees. So now, I'm sure probably most of you have seen this particular diagram. This is our famous ISKCON painting of the material and spiritual universes. Right? So in today's shloka, we are hearing that it is the denizens, the residents of Tapaloka, Janaloka and Satyaloka who are offering prayers to the Lord, to Lord Bor. And in the image to the right there, which is the expanded version of that little image there, I'm just going to move you through it. Right, see, I just brought up that red line. This is like one of those diagrams in a shopping mall. You are here, right? This is where we are, Burloka, Earth, right? And we are in what is known as the middle planetary system, where we have that is planetary systems that are manifest of both the subtle and the gross material energy. Up there, right, there we have the high material planets, subtle matter only. Right, down below you'll see there's gross matter only. Now, so here we have these planets that we are hearing about today. And I've also included Maharloka, the one below these three planetary systems, because usually Maharloka is included in that cluster of planetary systems. And then we have the middle planetary systems, that's us here, and here we have the lower ones. So in the fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada makes this comment. He says, right, there are three planetary systems, upper, middle and lower. Right, those influenced by the mode of goodness are given places in the upper planetary systems. That's Satyaloka, also known as Brahmaloka, Tapaloka, Janaloka and Maharloka. Those influenced by the mode of passion are given places in Buraloka and Bhuvarloka. That's us here. And those influenced by the mode of ignorance are given places in Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, Palatala, or the animal kingdom. So in other words, any living being who leaves his body in the mode of ignorance, quite possibly they will end up in one of these planetary systems or in the body of an animal for their next lifetime. Right, so, right here we have our heavenly beings. So Srila Prabhupada describes that these heavenly planets, and he describes the purpose of the heavenly planets. So these descriptions appear in pretty much in all of Srila Prabhupada's books, the Srimad Bhagavatam, Caitanya, Caritamrita and Bhagavad Gita. Primarily we hear that these high material planets, they are manifest to accommodate souls who have been purified of the lower material modes of nature, namely Rajas and Tamas Gun. We also hear that once an individual is situated in these high material planets, they can satisfy their material senses hundreds of thousands of times better than what they can on this Earth planet, right? So these upper material planets, materially, they are very, very opulent. Right? They have to the utmost degree all the features that stimulate the material senses, such as environmental settings that are visually very pleasing, beautiful landscapes such as gorgeous mountains, lakes, rivers, gardens, that are very, very enticing and very appealing. That those who experience them, they don't actually want to leave such an atmosphere. Right? This is the trap, shall we say, with the high material planets. So life there is described as being extremely pleasant and easy, and without many of the hardships that we here in our sector, right, in the Bhuraloka sector, experience. So now, as today's shloka says, right, these planets themselves, right, the planets, they are described as being pious, right? In other words, the citizens living within these planets describe the planets themselves as being pious. So I think it's fair to, conclude that living beings within these planets are also, they have accumulated many pious credits in order to experience that high standard of living materially. But in terms of purity, right, if we speak about actual purity, these inhabitants, they are still not free from material contamination because they still maintain material desires. Otherwise, they would still not be living within these highly affluent material planetary systems. So these planetary systems, they are of course situated below the Vaikunthas, below the spiritual planets. So even Lord Brahma, right, who is the presiding deity of Satyaloka, and we also know him as the secondary creator of the material universe, he is materially conditioned, right, to experience the reactions of karma and the influence of the three modes of material nature, because Lord Brahma also has a material body, even though his body is much more subtle than ours. In today's shloka, when the denizens of these upper planets are saying to Lord Varahadev that they have been purified by the water coming off his body, they are saying this with the understanding that Lord Varahadev is none other than the Supreme Lord. So, in Srila Prabhupada's first sentence in his purport, right, he is saying that ordinarily the body of a hog, right, a hog is the same as similar to a pig or a boar. Ordinarily, such a creature is considered unclean, right? Dirty, grimy, infested with germs and bacteria, whatever, full of contaminated substances that they have consumed. Also, they're not considered very attractive. So in India, we often see pigs. They're rummaging around through garbage lying in the street. They may stick their snouts in stool. Pigs are also known, that they will consume. Everyone agrees with this. That there is actually some disagreement. Some people who keep pigs say that they are actually very clean if they are given a clean environment to live in, and that they're actually very intelligent. But everyone agrees on this point that pigs will eat whatever is put in front of them. So I think it's predominantly because of this particular characteristic of the pig that pigs are generally considered a lowly animal, right? An unclean and a lowly animal. Perhaps we could say it's similar with dogs. Dogs are generally considered unclean. Certainly in India, dogs are not, actually they're not treated so well, because they are considered to be unclean creatures, right? So now, with regards to this pastime, right, so we're hearing in today's shloka that Lord Boar, he was shaking his body and some of the water came off his body, and it actually purified the denizens of the upper material planets. So let's just get back to, say if an ordinary pig was to come in here to this temple room now and shake his body, say if he had water on his body, we would all sort of run away, right? Because we would consider the water from that particular body to be unclean, right? Contaminated. Same as if a dog came in here and shook its body. So that would be the normal reaction, right, to coming into contact with any substance that has been into contact with such creatures within the material world. But in our pastime today, Jai Lord Varahadev, we are hearing about the transcendental body of the Supreme Lord, right, which is entirely pure, entirely auspicious, entirely spiritual, entirely divine, entirely clean, right? so that, you know, anyone or anything that comes into contact with Lord Varahadev or his body, or anything coming off that body, such as water, that should be considered as being the most auspicious, you know, and the most purifying substance that a person can come into contact with. Whatever form the Lord chooses to take, you know, because Krishna chooses to take all sorts of forms, right? Some of these other forms that we generally consider to be wild animals, such as fish, or the tortoise, or even the swan, whatever form the Lord chooses to take, we should accept, we should understand to be very pure, 100% transcendental, above the influences of the modes of material nature. Whether a living being is situated within the upper material planets, or the middle planetary system, or the lower planetary system, that coming into contact, or even, how could one say, having any sort of interaction with the Lord is always 100% beneficial for all living beings. I wanted to mention that, you know, the demoniac persons, those who are not inclined towards spiritual subject matters, which unfortunately happens to be most people in this Kali Yuga societies that we are living in, they will not respond favorably to the Lord, regardless of which particular shape he takes, right, and regardless of which pastimes he engages in. So, you know, in today's society, there is so much suspicion, so much doubt, so much aversion to religion, and this thing that we call agnosticism, which is really, really rampant. You know, and a person who is described as an agnostic will simply say, well, we cannot prove that the Lord exists, so therefore I'll just let the subject matter go. And this particular type of thinking is very, very prevalent today. It's very prevalent within the scientific community. So, you know, this, you know, rather than accepting Krishna as the Supreme Lord, regardless of which shape he chooses to appear in, these unfortunate souls, they just simply turn away from the Lord, and they take shelter in the material energy, which is only going to lead them further into darkness. So, you know, one of the distinguishing factors, actually, like even if we look at all the monotheistic faiths, right, you all know what monotheism is, right? So monotheism, that just means one God. So we have a number of monotheistic traditions in our on this planet at the moment. We have Christianity, we have Judaism, Islam, and so forth. But, you know, one of the features that distinguishes Vaishnavism from other monotheistic traditions is actually that Vaishnavas accept the Lord in whichever shape he comes in, right? Whatever his pastimes may be, right? We do not want to cast our own expectations on the Lord, right? That he should appear in a particular way, you know, such as, for example, somebody who looks just like we do, or somebody who acts just like we do. And this is actually, I won't say too much, but yeah, this is actually a common feature within quite a few of the other monotheistic traditions, sadly, you know. But the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, they will accept the Lord and his transcendental pastime without hesitation, without hesitation. The devotees of the Lord do not doubt the Lord or impose their own expectations on him, on how he should act or behave or appear. We just love him as he is. So now this is all that I had prepared for the class from the purport. Now coming up, I have a 6-minute video, if it's going to run. I hope it's going to run. Actually, I don't have my, I'm just realizing now I probably should have brought my mobile phone with me. It's in my car because this little video may need the connection to my phone in order to run this. It's a 6-minute film clip of Abhishek, the Abhishek of Lord Varahadev on his appearance day in Mayapur. It's very, very nice. So, okay, well, let's first of all have a look if it's going to run. No. Let's have a look. No. Right, this is actually a brand new computer. I do apologize. So, hang on a minute. What's happening now? Beg your pardon? Someone else's phone? Yeah, or I mean, my car's just over here. I could run and get it if you're interested. Oh, hang on a minute. Let's have a look. Looks like we do have something here. No. Okay. So, well, we can either do it. I can either just go to my car and get my phone, and we can run the video. Beg your pardon? You want to get? Yeah, sure. You can come. Yeah. So please come in here. See this grey bag? Yeah. What's your name? Sorry. Tanil. Tanil. Very nice meeting you, Tanil. Right. So you can't miss my car. It's a bright yellow one. It's probably the only yellow one there. And my mobile phone. It's in a brown net bag. On the front seat. Yeah. Thank you very much, Tanil. So perhaps while we're waiting for Tanil, yeah, it's just up here. Literally the first car you come to there. So perhaps while we're waiting for Tanil, because we still have almost 15 minutes to Prasadam time, would anyone like to ask a question? Perhaps we can engage in a couple of questions until this one. Yes, we have one outside. Has somebody got a microphone? Just a minute. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you very much for the class.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah.
So, in this verse, very elevated personalities from higher planetary systems would be considered very pure by our standards, but they still seek purification. Can you explain the nature of spiritual purification and the process of spiritual purification, please?
Thank you very much. Very nice question. Yeah, the process of spiritual purification, and what does it mean, and how does it actually work? Is that that's your question? Yeah. So it ultimately comes down to our desire. If we sincerely desire to serve the Lord in a loving way, according to His desire, not according to our desires, then our desires should be considered pure. The devotee who has been purified from material concerns and material goals does not have any goals other than pleasing the Supreme Lord. But to achieve this, it may not be quite as easy as it sounds, because we still have attachments. Some of those attachments may be hidden, even to ourselves. I can say this actually with conviction, because sometimes even when we're living our lives, going about our daily things, and we are doing our best to engage 100%. Thank you so much, Tanil. Thank you. Yeah. Even when we're doing our best to engage with the Lord, something happened to me the other day, and I was in a situation that, that means that I actually have to give up this particular thing, and all of a sudden I just felt this sort of kicking back, right? It's the material energy. So yeah, I still have some, material attachments there, and they may not be so visible, to ourselves or to other people, to other devotees. So it's definitely a process. I remember actually now senior Prabhupada disciple Nara Narayan, he once asked Srila Prabhupada, so Nara Narayan Prabhu is telling this in the memoirs. There's all those videos when all the Prabhupada disciples speaking about their memories of Srila Prabhupada. So Nara Narayan Prabhu is saying, once that he asked Srila Prabhupada if he could become a pure devotee. And so Prabhupada heard his question, and Prabhupada was pacing up and down a little bit. And then he turned around to Nara Narayan and he says, yes, but it may take some time. So, this is our situation, is that, it starts with the desire, the pure desire that we want to stop serving the material energy and just serve Krishna. And then we need to go about, trying to do that. But, we have to remember we've been conditioned by the material energy for a very, very long time. So, it's something we just need to keep working at. Have I answered your question at all? Sort of? All right. So, perhaps you were after something more technical?
The essence of what I'm trying to understand is how such an elevated personality, or what I'm trying to understand, such an elevated personality would have a drop of water from Supreme, and it would feel purified. The question is, what I'm seeking understanding in is, what does it feel? What transformation it becomes from being pure to being even more spiritually pure by receiving a drop of water from air of the Lord? What benefits is
the
there?
actual transformation of that pure water coming into contact with the bodies of the...
I'm presupposing that those personalities already have pure desire to serve the Lord.
Well, as Srila Prabhupada says, these personalities are not totally purified yet of material desires. So they are still desiring some material facility for themselves, but they also have, a spiritual life. Yeah.
Okay, so in meaning that, am I understanding correctly? When they get purified, those material desires go away from them.
Oh, you mean after they were sprinkled?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I cannot comment on those particular denizens of those planets. I cannot comment on when those droplets of water fell on them, whether they became purified of all material desires from there on, or whether it was still a gradual thing or not. I cannot comment on that because we don't. There is no information on that. So material. What we need to understand though is material conditioning, regardless of where we are situated, whether it's on Burloka or in the lower planets or in the upper material planets. Material conditioning runs very, very deep. It affects our whole perception of life. Our whole perception of our environment around us, our whole perception of other living beings around us, and there's a lot of in-ground dirt there that needs to come out, and this is why we should never give up on this process. Right? Sometimes we may think that, I've been practicing this for a while and I'm not really getting anywhere, so either it doesn't work or either I've already achieved what I set out to do, but I'm still not actually attaining what I'd hoped to attain. No. that's not going to help us, that sort of thinking, right? This process, and sometimes it happens when we think that we are making the least amount of advancement, we're actually making very good advancement. It's not. It's we can't really see ourselves objectively in the capacity that Krishna can see us. Right? So my advice is, my recommendation is that just keep going with this process, even though sometimes you may feel like you're getting nowhere or very little, you're making very little advancement. Still keep going with it, because we don't know, just how Krishna is working with us from within and how he is planning our lives. All the senior devotees in our movement, they have all stuck with this process, through so many trials and tribulations, and I'm sure there's lots of incidents where they could have become disheartened and so forth. But no, we just need to keep sticking to the process, and in time Krishna will reveal, how you are coming away from the material energy in your own life. Yeah. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Okay, we're just going to have a look if we can get this up and running now. So I don't know, we don't seem to have sound at the moment. We started off with sound. Did anyone press any button or anything? This absolutely beautiful deity of Lord Varahadev. Whoops, okay. Anyway, Hare Krishna. So we've... yeah. It's a little bit difficult with... We'll try it again. We'll see how far we get with the volume. I apologize about this. The sound is cutting out at the same spot in the video, but I did run this video through a couple of times before I uploaded it, and it has volume all the way through it. So I don't actually know what's happening, but we can leave that up there. It only, like I said, it only runs for 6 minutes. It's really beautiful. Anyway, thank you everyone for attending the class. Jai Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.